quite pleasing. The nice TZ over there. So, the next thing we're going to do is unscrew the main head bolts, which are 10 in total. And while doing this, I can definitely recommend you to getting the proper workshop handbook. Just all the work neatly described. Because with these head bolts, you see here, you have to follow a certain order by unscrewing them. So if you tighten them, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And we're going to do the reverse thing when we unscrew them. So we start by 10 and crisscrossing our way to 1. First we do them like a bit, and then we take them off all the way. So we put less stress on the head and prevent it from warping or getting out of shape. So another thing, those are for a 14mm socket. And the thing is, it's quite narrow down here. So those are torqued quite strong, so it's very difficult to get them off with a 1/4-inch ratchet. But the 1/2-inch ratchet is too big, the sockets are too big to fit in the holes to get the bolts off. So the thing to use is a 3/8 socket ratchet thing, and you can use a good extension. Get the 14mm socket on there, and it fits like with almost no play in there. This is quite tight, but it's really doing the thing. Oh my bad, it's not 14, it's a 12mm. Is it? Yeah, it's a 12mm, I'm sorry. So we start with number 10, which is this one over here. Make sure our ratchet is in the right direction. Get a good hold on, and is it? Yeah, it is. As you can see, those are quite tight on there. So we loosen this one a bit. Then we move on to number 9, which is the farthest one over here. And there is the first thing. So with this magnet piece off. No, this comes later. You stay there. Here we go. So there's a little washer in there, which apparently didn't do any harm. Take this out, continue our work. Now it fits. So this one's loose now. So we go on to number 8 would be this one, not the farthest one, this one. That's one loose, this one's next. As you can see, those are a pain. 6 would be this one. So we start moving to the bolts. What's next? Oh, fucking hell. Piece of shit. Actually, yeah. Okay. Just notice that this bar has a adapter to 1/2 inch on it, so you can use the smaller nut socket, on a bigger ratchet, which should be easier to work. This one's loose, this one's loose, this one's loose, this one's next. Yeah. Like a charm. And number 2. Nice. Still recording nice and easy. So now those are loose, so we can just, no, this one's going to tighten again. Like I imagined, you don't have to take them out all the way at once. Just loosen them slightly, one by one, and then make sure you get the head off nice and easy and evenly. So don't undo like one side all the way, because it leaves more strain and such on the other side. So now we can take those out. Now once they're all loose, the order in which you take them out doesn't really matter. So you can just unscrew them all and then pull them out with a magnet or some pliers. Or get your hands in there, or whatever you prefer. Nice. So, I'll try to do it with this magnet here. As you can see, those are quite long bolts. And another thing, those have washers on them. Those washers, can you see them? Can you see them? Yeah, you can see them. Those washers are really important. So they tend to stick in there. I can show you because this one apparently doesn't have one because it's still in there. I show you. So the magnet is a good way to get them out and not leave them in the cylinder head, because once you start cleaning this, you tend to lose them, which is not a good thing. Yeah, so you get those bolts out. Put them to the side. Yeah, you can see it on this hole on the left. This one here, there's no washer. There's the washer. So in the other holes there are washers left too, so we get those out. Yeah. So just go in there with the magnet, fish them out. Those prevent the head bolts from working into the actual casting when you tighten them. So they're apparently quite important. So now we have the main bolts out of the head. Next are those two. Oh, you can't see them. Those two, this one here and this one here. And this pipe here. You can't see it yet here. So we have to unscrew this one too. Of course, the Allen key you always need. Always the one which is lost. On some engines, these can be quite a pain in the arse to get them off. Because if the engine is really old and dirty, you tend to strip those right off. So be careful when you have like an old engine which looks like ours. Be careful when you take those out. Ah yeah, there's another bolt I forgot to tell you about. And this one's down here, down there, which is like normal, which would be 10 mil or 8 mil or something, which is screwed from the bottom to top. So you have to take this one out as well. So take the little ratchet, 10 mil, it's 10 mil, right direction, and just undo it. Bye-bye. So there we have a bolt. Nice bolt. Off you go. So now this can be either, yeah, it's 12 mil. So we can try to do with the smaller ratchet. Shouldn't be too tight on there. Here we go. Yes. So it's like a hollow bolt, which allows the oil to flow through. And there's two little aluminum washers on there to seal it up. Much like your brake calipers or something. It's basically the same idea. So now those are off. Those are off. This is off. All bolts are out. So you can do a little check if you see any things that's left on there. I think this is good. You can take the thermostat out if you like. I will do this now. So I have it out of the way. Actually, doing these videos is quite fun. I thought I would have a harder time talking on the camera alone. So bolt number 1, and there's another one down here, same size. Just like the same procedure like with the chain tensioner. So we find ourselves a nice spot. Here we go. We have a good angle of attack. Yeah, loosen it. As you can see, this is quite crusty. I think it's because this engine has apparently about 70,000 kilometers on it. And it was raced for 2 years before we got our hands on it. And it was working quite fine. We did it, we took it to a few track days. But then you see, this is proper fucked. So we have to clean this out. And but after a few track days, this engine started leaking oil and got worse and worse. So now during the summertime, we thought we'd fix it to get it running again. Another thing you can do is, this is the thermostat, which opens and closes at a certain temperature. I think it's around 70 degrees. And while this is closed, when you start the bike and it's cold, it prevents the water from getting into the radiator. So it stays in the cylinder head and the cylinder until it's proper warm. And then this one opens, allowing the water to flow through. This can cause some issues because, especially when you're racing, because this is like the opening and it's not that big. You see, it's a lot of restriction there. So you can take it out, just run the bike without it. You see, and you have a much larger opening here, allowing the water to flow through the radiator. I have this done on my street bike, just this yes right there. And the engine is running about 10 degrees cooler than it would with this thing. So it's a nice little upgrade you can do, but you have to be careful in cold weather because sometimes the engine can't reach the proper operating temperature when you delete this. So this goes there. Don't need this anymore. So now the head is free and we should be able to lift it. So we rock it a bit. Here we go. Here we go, and there's a lot of oil. So take some cloth. Pick up the oil, don't make a mess. So we take the cylinder head off. Nice. So we'll inspect this later. Take a few for now. Yeah. Okay. So this is our old gasket, which, as you can see, is not that in a good shape, but we will keep it for now because we can use it later. And we have quite a price here. But that's a thing for another episode.